Hey there and welcome. Do you ever feel like you're just flying blind when it comes to your product costs? Well, today we are going to demystify one of the most powerful parts of Dynamics 365, cost management. We're going to build a complete blueprint, piece by piece, to give you total cost clarity. So let's jump right in. I mean, this is the big one, isn't it? The fundamental question. And it's not just about the raw materials, right? It's about labor, machine time, overhead. It's about everything. If you get this number wrong, you're just guessing on your pricing. You're probably sacrificing profit, and you're definitely losing efficiency. And that's exactly the problem Dynamics 365 is built to solve. So the best way to tackle this is to think of it like we're creating a detailed architectural blueprint. Every single setting, every configuration, it's a critical part of the plan. And if we get the blueprint right, we're going to build a robust, super reliable system for understanding what your true costs actually are. And just like any building project, we have to start with a solid foundation. You just have to. In the world of 365 costing, that foundation is all about your inventory. Seriously, how you define and categorize your items is the bedrock for everything that comes next. Okay, so let's clear something up right away that often gets people confused. Item groups versus item model groups. Here's the simplest way to think about it. Item groups, they're for your accountant. They answer the question, what is this financially, by linking your inventory to the general ledger. But item model groups, well, those are for your operations team. They answer, how do we handle this thing? By setting up all the rules for costing and how inventory flows. Now, inside your item model groups, you get to choose a costing method. And a really common one is weighted average. So what's its big advantage? It smooths out all those price fluctuations. So instead of your product costs jumping all over the place with every new shipment of raw materials, you get a nice, stable, predictable average. And that stability, it's absolutely crucial for consistent pricing and reliable profit forecasting. All right, our foundation is poured. Now it's time to start framing the structure. Let's move on to the next part of our blueprint. We're going to classify every single type of cost that goes into making your product. You know, at a high level, the cost of pretty much any manufactured product breaks down just like this. You've got your direct materials, the steel, the plastic, the screws. You've got your direct labor, the actual people putting the product together, and then you've got this big one, manufacturing overhead. That's the factory rent, the electricity, the machine depreciation. Our goal here is to capture all three and do it accurately. So how do we track all this stuff? Well, the first tool is the cost group, and it's actually brilliantly simple. Just think of cost groups as big, clearly labeled buckets. You have one for direct materials, another for direct labor, and one for overhead. Every single cost gets sorted into the right bucket, which, trust me, is critical for getting good analysis later on. So if cost groups are those big buckets, then cost categories are the smaller, more specific containers you put inside them. A cost category lets you put a price tag on an activity. So for example, you could create a category for assembly labor and tell the system it costs, say, $25 an hour. Then, when you use that category in a production route, the system knows exactly how to calculate the labor cost for that specific step. See how that works? And to make sure everyone in the company is speaking the same financial language, we use shared categories. This just makes sure that a cost like consulting fees is categorized the exact same way in production as it is in project management or general expenses. It's really all about maintaining consistency across the entire business. Okay, so we've laid the foundation, we've classified all our materials. Now our blueprint needs the factory floor plan. This next section is all about modeling your real-world operations right inside Dynamics 365. We're basically moving from the abstract financial ideas to the concrete physical reality of your factory. We have to tell the system who does the work, where they do it, and when they're available to do it. This is how we connect time and resources directly to cost. So we start by grouping similar resources together, like maybe all of your CNC machines into a single resource group. Now, the key step here, the really important part, is linking this group to the cost categories we just set up. By doing that, you're telling the system exactly how much it costs for that machine to be set up or to run for an hour. This is how a machine's physical activity gets a real dollar value attached to it. A machine can't work 24/7, right? So we need to give it a calendar. This defines its exact working hours, including breaks. And you might be wondering, why does this matter for cost? Well, it's absolutely essential for accurate scheduling and capacity planning. The system won't just calculate what a job costs, but also when it can realistically get done. And finally, we define the what.
What are the actual steps in our manufacturing process? Each one of these tasks, whether it's cut material, weld frame, or paint surface, gets defined as an operation. These are the fundamental building blocks that we're going to sequence together later on to create our full production route.
Okay, this is it. This is the moment we've been building towards. We've laid the foundation, we've classified the costs, we've modeled the factory floor. Now, in this final part of our blueprint, we bring it all together to calculate the final product cost.
You know, all that setup, the inventory, the cost buckets, the operations, it has all been leading to this exact moment. The system is finally ready to use every single piece of our blueprint to generate one single accurate cost.
But first, we need a container to hold our calculation, and that's called a costing version. The real power here is that you can create multiple versions. Think of them as different scenarios. You could have one for your current standard costs, another to project costs for next quarter, and maybe a third to simulate what happens if steel prices go up 10%. It's a really strategic tool for planning, not just accounting. Now this is the engine's rulebook. When the system calculates the cost of a bill of materials, the calculation group tells it exactly where to get the price for each and every component. Should it use the item's standard cost, the last purchase price, maybe an average? This set of rules ensures the calculation is done consistently and correctly every single time.
And after all of that detailed work, what's the final output? One number. Just one. A single, accurate, defensible figure that represents the true cost to produce your product. All of that complexity just gets distilled down into pure, actionable clarity.
And the crucial point to remember is that this number isn't a guess. It's not pulled out of thin air. It's the direct result of our blueprint. Every piece, the inventory foundation, the cost buckets, the factory floor plan, they all come together to make it happen. This is how a structured setup transforms guesswork into a really reliable outcome. And there you have it. The blueprint is complete. By following these steps, you've literally transformed a potential chaos of costs into a system of total clarity. You've built the foundation for making smarter, data-driven decisions.
But look, setting up the system is really just the beginning. Having this accurate cost data, that's the foundation for making much smarter business decisions. So I'll leave you with this question. Now that you have the data, what will you build with it? Better pricing strategies, more efficient production processes? The possibilities are really yours to construct.